Cheating wife's bold move. Secretly transferred our home before divorce. Her courtroom smirk said it all. Hey, everyone. Before we dive into this, just know I'm not some writer. Just a guy who got royally screwed over and came out on top. Seeing other dudes post their stories of betrayal, I figured it was time to drop mine. Fair warning. It's a long one, but trust me, the payoff is worth it. I'm Jake, 35, construction site manager, and living proof that hard work pays off. I started as a laborer straight out of high school, busting my ass, learning every inch of the trade. Now, I run crews of 20-plus guys, manage million-dollar projects, and live comfortably. Not Silicon Valley money, but enough to enjoy life. Gym membership, weekend fishing trips, and my fully restored '68 Mustang. Yeah, I know, muscle car guy stereotype. But hey, we all need something to keep us sane. And then there was Rachel. Picture your classic blonde bombshell realtor, the kind who could sell $1 million house with just a wink and a tight skirt. We met at a bar one night, me, still in my work boots, dust covered from a job site, her out with her real estate crew, slumming it for fun. Somehow we hit it off. Maybe it was because I didn't try to impress her, didn't drool over her like every other guy in the place. I was just a guy who could deadlift 500 pounds and knew how to build a house from the ground up. She liked that. 3 years later, we got married. Her father, a big-time real estate developer, insisted on a prenup. No sweat off my back. I wasn't in it for money. Signed it without even reading it carefully. Spoiler alert, that little document would come back to haunt her. 4 years ago, we bought a killer apartment in the best part of town. 3-bedroom, 2-bath corner unit with a view of the skyline. Most of the down payment came from my grandpa's inheritance. Wise old man always said, Jake, keep some money tucked away from the wife. You never know when you'll need it. Should have listened to more of his advice, but at least I took that part seriously. For a while, life was good. I was killing it at work, got promoted, started making solid money. Rachel was raking in commissions on those fancy downtown condos. We had our routines. I hit the gym at 5 a.m. before work. She did her yoga or whatever. Sometimes we'd meet for lunch when I wasn't knee-deep in permits and city inspections. Even our arguments were standard. She'd bitch about my gym time. I'd roll my eyes at how long it took her to get ready for dinner. Nothing major. Then, 8 months ago, the first red flag popped up. Rachel got obsessed with these women's empowerment seminars. Every other weekend, she was dressing up in business casual, heading off to network with powerful women. Started talking about unlocking her full potential. At first, I figured it was some self-improvement thing. Looking back, these weren't just networking events. They were where she met the people who helped her plan what was coming next. Then she got really into our apartment paperwork. Out of nowhere, she started asking about mortgage details, deed transfers, refinancing options. I brushed it off. She was a realtor after all. Maybe she just liked playing with property documents. Then came the night I should have trusted my gut. I came home from a gym, still pumped from hitting a new bench press PR, and there she was, sitting on the couch, laptop open, looking professional as hell despite it being 8 p.m. "Babe," she said, all sweet and casual. "I've been looking into our mortgage rates. I think we should refinance." That alone wasn't weird. What was weird? The way she said it. Like she was trying too hard to sound innocent. "My credit score is better than yours," she continued, flipping her screen to show me some numbers. "If we put the apartment in just my name, we could save about $200 a month." I was still sweaty, drinking my post-workout shake, but something felt off. "What about my name on the deed?" I asked. She waved it off like it was nothing. "Oh, we can add you back later. It's just a technical thing for the bank. You trust me, right?" That last line, that's what did it. Rachel was always blunt. No sugarcoating, no soft manipulation. This sweet, calculated tone, not her style. I didn't let on. 9 years of working construction teaches you how to keep a poker face. I just nodded, said, "Sounds interesting. Let's look into it," and took a shower. Inside, though, my brain was on fire. The empowerment seminars. The weird late nights. The secretive phone calls in the other room. Something was seriously wrong. So I started watching. Not accusing, not arguing, just observing. What I found, oh, buddy, that's when the real fun began. I kept my cool, played it like nothing was wrong. But inside, I knew I just didn't have the proof yet. After Rachel's little refinancing stunt, I started paying attention. Every excuse, every late night, every new expense that didn't quite make sense. She was getting sloppy, too comfortable in her deception. Then came the cologne. I don't wear fancy cologne. My go-to? Basic Old Spice, maybe some aftershave if I'm feeling fancy. But one night, she comes home smelling like she walked through the men's section of a luxury department store. Not my scent, and sure as hell not an accident. "Babe, did you get a new perfume?" I asked casually, already knowing the answer. She hesitated. Just a flicker, but enough. Oh, must have been from the house I showed today. The owners had one of those automatic scent things. Right, because real estate clients spray their homes with overpriced men's cologne before selling them. That was the first solid crack in the facade. The second, my buddy Tom, a concrete guy I'd known for years, sends me a picture one afternoon. His girlfriend snapped it while she was out with friends at this high-end rooftop restaurant downtown. There was Rachel, sitting across from some guy in a tailored suit, laughing like she didn't have a husband waiting for her at home. And who was the mystery man? None other than Logan Carter, one of the city's top divorce attorneys. That's when I knew I wasn't just dealing with an affair. I was dealing with a full-blown setup. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I called my own lawyer, Jack. Jack is in your average suit. Ex-military, built like a linebacker, and sharp as hell. He listened to my story, cracked his knuckles, and said, "We're going to make her regret this." First move? Dig deeper. Jack got me in touch with a private investigator named Maria, ex-cop, no nonsense, and damn good at her job. Within a week, she had everything. Photos, phone records, even a recording of Rachel and Logan discussing property transfers. Turns out, this wasn't Logan's first rodeo. He'd helped multiple women screw over their husbands before filing for divorce. What Rachel didn't know was that our prenup, signed at her father's insistence, had some ironclad clauses, one of which stated that any attempt to commit fraud or hide marital assets meant forfeiture of any financial claims. Translation? She was about to lose everything. Now it was just a waiting game. I had the proof. I had the legal team. I just needed her to make the next move. And, oh, she did. Bigger than I ever imagined. One evening, she comes home unusually early, acting all sweet and affectionate. Try and play the loving wife again. "Hey, babe," she cooed, wrapping her arms around me. I was thinking we should take a little getaway. Just us. No work, no stress. What do you think? I almost laughed out loud. She was trying to distract me, soften me up before she went for the kill. "Yeah, that sounds nice," I said, playing along. "Let's talk about it later." Later that night, I saw her sneak into the office, shuffling through files and making hush phone calls. I followed her moves like a hawk, making sure she thought she was still ahead of the game. But the reality? She was already checkmated. Maria had found something even bigger. A second bank account Rachel had been stashing money into for months. It wasn't just about the apartment. She had been preparing for a full financial wipeout, siphoning funds and hiding assets before she filed. I forwarded everything to Jack. His response? "It's go time." The next morning, Maria followed Rachel straight to Logan's office. Another recorded conversation. This time, she was practically giddy, detailing how she had secured the apartment and was ready to move on without a single complication. She had no idea just how wrong she was. Jack filed everything. The fraud, the hidden assets, the prenup violations. By the time Rachel walked into our home that evening, she had no idea her world was already crumbling, and I was ready to watch it all burn. Rachel thought she had everything under control. She thought she was a mastermind, the one playing me for fool. What she didn't know was that the walls were already closing in. The day after Maria caught her bragging in Logan's office, Jack and I finalized our next steps. The fraud charges were airtight. The hidden bank accounts? Traced. The property transfer? Invalid. Rachel was about to learn a very harsh lesson in consequences. That evening, I came home like normal, acting none the wiser. Rachel, oblivious to what was coming, was all smiles, acting affectionate, as if she actually cared. It was sickening. "Hey, babe," she chirped, placing a hand on my arm. I was thinking we should start planning that trip. I smirked internally. Oh, we were going on a trip? All right, a legal one. Yeah, let's talk about it later. I said, just like the night before, but later never came. The next morning, I was up early, dressed sharply in my best suit, waiting at the courthouse with Jack. By 10 a.m., the fraud charges had been officially filed. By noon, Rachel was being served. I wish I could have seen her face when she got the papers, but I had work to do. I spent the afternoon at the construction site, making sure everything was running smoothly. The guys could tell something was up. "Boss, you look way too happy for a guy dealing with city inspections," one of them joked. If only they knew. By the time I got home, Rachel was already there, pacing the living room, papers in hand, panic in her eyes. "What the hell is this?" she shrieked, waving the documents at me. I calmly took off my jacket and set my keys on the counter. "That, sweetheart, is reality catching up with you." You did this," she sputtered. "You set me up." I laughed, actually laughed. "Set you up? Rachel, you did this to yourself. You tried to steal from me. You lied. You schemed. You committed fraud. And now you get to pay for it." Her face paled. She knew she was screwed. "You can't do this," she whispered, voice shaking. "I'll lose everything." I leaned in slightly, looking her dead in the eyes. "You already have." And with that, I walked past her into our bedroom, grabbed my overnight bag, and left. I wasn't going to stick around for the meltdown. Jack had already made arrangements for me to stay at a buddy's place while we wrapped this up. But it wasn't over yet, not by a long shot. The court date was set for 2 weeks later. In those 2 weeks, Rachel tried everything. Tears, begging, gaslighting, even trying to seduce me back into her good graces. It was pathetic. Meanwhile, Logan Carter? Oh, he was having problems of his own. Turns out, Jack had tipped off the Bar Association about his little side hustle helping women defraud their husbands. By the time Rachel's case hit court, Logan was too busy dealing with an investigation into his law firm. And that was just the beginning. Court day arrived, and Rachel walked in like she still had some upper hand. She had dolled herself up, wearing a crisp white suit, trying to play the innocent victim. Logan, however, wasn't at her side. He was too busy dealing with his own legal mess. Jack and I sat at our table, 3 thick binders stacked in front of us. Evidence. Ironclad, undeniable proof of what Rachel had done. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, read over the documents with an unimpressed expression. Then she looked up at Rachel. "Mrs. Carter, do you have anything to say before I make my ruling?" Rachel stammered, trying to piece together some excuse. But the judge wasn't having it. "Enough," she said, slamming her gavel. "I've seen enough fraud cases to know exactly what happened here. The evidence is overwhelming. The property transfer is void. Mrs. Carter forfeits all marital claims due to her actions. Additionally, this court is referring her case for criminal charges." Rachel gasped audibly. "Criminal charges?" The judge barely spared her a glance. "Forgery and fraud, Mrs. Carter. Actions have consequences." That was it. The moment Rachel lost everything. By the time we left the courthouse, Rachel looked hollow, like a woman who had just watched her entire world go up in flames. On the other hand, I had never felt lighter. This wasn't just revenge. This was justice. And I wasn't done yet. Rachel was done. Her little scheme had imploded, and she was left with nothing but a criminal record and a long list of regrets. But for me, this was just the beginning of a new chapter. After walking out of that courtroom, I took a deep breath of the cool afternoon air. Jack clapped me on the shoulder. "You did it, man. She's finished." I nodded, but I wasn't celebrating just yet. There was still one last piece of business to take care of. Logan Carter, the sleazebag lawyer who helped Rachel try to screw me over, was next in line. His world had been unraveling right alongside hers, and I was about to make sure he took the final plunge. A week after the trial, I got a call from Maria, my PI. "You're gonna love this," she said with a chuckle. "Logan's been disbarred. The state's pressing charges against him for conspiracy to commit fraud." I grinned. Perfect. Turns out, Rachel wasn't the only one he had helped scam her husband. Maria's research uncovered at least 7 other cases where Logan had assisted women in fraudulently transferring assets before divorce proceedings. The Bar Association had enough evidence to bury him. Meanwhile, Rachel's father, the man who had insisted on the prenup, had completely cut her off. She tried calling him multiple times, begging for help, but he wanted nothing to do with her. The moment she got caught forging signatures, he washed his hands of her completely. With nowhere to go, Rachel ended up moving in with her mother, who was less than thrilled about her daughter's sudden fall from grace. Word around town was that she was working as a receptionist at a dental clinic, a far cry from the high-flying realtor lifestyle she once flaunted. No more champagne brunches, no more designer handbags, just a 9-to-5 job and a lifetime of regret. But karma wasn't quite done with her yet. Logan, desperate to avoid prison, tried throwing Rachel under the bus, claimed she masterminded the entire scheme, and coerced him into helping her. Of course, the court wasn't buying it, but it still meant more legal trouble for Rachel. The DA was now looking into potential perjury charges against her, along with fraud. One evening, I got a message from Maria, a short video clip. It was Rachel outside a courthouse, surrounded by reporters. She looked exhausted, disheveled. The same woman who once walked with confidence and entitlement now looked lost, defeated. The clip was short, but I watched it twice. She ignored the questions being thrown her way and disappeared into the building, likely for another legal battle she wouldn't win. Meanwhile, my life was taking a different path. I got to keep the apartment. Thanks to the ironclad prenup, I made some renovations, repainted the place, and wiped out every last trace of Rachel's presence. Work was booming, and I had more projects lined up than ever before. It felt like a fresh start, like I had shed the last of the dead weight holding me down. And then there was Jessica. I met her at the gym. She was different, down to earth, no games, and actually interested in me for who I was, not what I could provide. We started hanging out casually, then dating. She loved the fact that I worked construction, and actually respected the work I put into my life. No schemes, no manipulation, just real, genuine connection. One night, a few months later, we were out grabbing dinner when we ran into Rachel. She looked rough, no expensive makeup, no designer clothes, just a woman who had lost everything. She locked eyes with me, and for a moment, it looked like she was going to say something, but she didn't. She just turned and walked away. Jessica noticed. "Was that?" "Yeah," I said, taking a sip of my drink. "That was her." She shook her head. "Karma's a bitch." I chuckled. "That it is." That night, as Jessica and I drove home, I thought about how much had changed, about how close I had been to losing everything, about how a single decision could shift the course of your entire life. Rachel made hers, and I made mine. And with that, I moved on. The end.